The latest situation in the U.S., 11 people have died from freezing. This winter is very different. Please do not go outside unless you have to. A very bad storm is coming. I'll explain the details. Let me set the scene for you, because what's unfolding right now is absolutely wild. Arctic air has bulldozed its way down to the Rio Grande Valley and even crept into northern Mexico. This afternoon, temperatures across the southern plains are running about 45 colder than they should be. And here's the kicker late. January is already the coldest stretch of the year, normally. We're not comparing this to some mild autumn day. We're stacking it up against peak winter, and we're still 45 below where we should be. Talk about extreme. This morning's wind chills told an even more dramatic story. Sub-zero readings stretched all the way down into central and north Texas, central Arkansas, and came dangerously close to Tennessee and Kentucky. We're talking frigid conditions blanketing a massive chunk of the country. And as the afternoon rolled in, things didn't improve much. Wind chills hovering between 5 and 20 below. Zero are gripping a huge swath of the north-central U.S. up through the northeast. The most brutal readings, 42-50 below zero, are hanging out over southeastern Canada. But plenty of that dangerous cold is spilling down into the lower 4/8. By the way, if you want weather details specific to your area, drop a comment below and I'll try to answer when I can. And hey, if you're finding this helpful, I'd really appreciate a like and subscribe. Now, on to this winter storm, which is still wreaking havoc. Heavy snow keeps dumping down, with rates hitting 3 inches per hour in some spots. That's an insane rate, the kind that buries cars and makes roads completely impassable in just a couple of hours. Right now, this heavy snow band is plowing through Pennsylvania and heading toward New York and Massachusetts. Meanwhile, sleet and freezing rain are turning roads into skating rinks across the mid-Atlantic. And on the warmer side of this system, thunderstorms are rumbling through Alabama, Georgia, and other southeastern states. The winter weather alerts really show how widespread this mess is. Winter storm warnings shown in pink on maps highlight areas where snow or ice is causing serious travel nightmares. Ice storm warnings in darker purple marked zones where significant ice buildup is creating real problems. Winter weather advisories stretch up toward the Great Lakes and down into parts of the Carolinas and Georgia. Nearly half the country is dealing with something right now. Let me walk you through the timing, because knowing what's coming helps you plan ahead. The heaviest snow shown in darker blue on radaries where snowfall rates are cranking at 1 to 3 inches per hour. Right now, that's centered over Ohio and pushing through Pennsylvania into New York and northern New Jersey. Then, moving into Connecticut and Massachusetts. Through the afternoon, those snowfall rates are going to keep ramping up in places like Boston, New York City, and Albany. We're talking serious accumulation in a short window. Here's something interesting for the New York City metro area. The sleet line is going to creep really close to downtown Manhattan this afternoon. I'm not sure it'll quite reach the city center, but Long Island is definitely getting hit. And as we head into evening with warmer Atlantic air pushing in, that sleet line might briefly nudge into NYC itself. If that happens, you could see a temporary switch to sleet before snow fills back in. Boston, though? All snow, no mixing worries there. The snow keeps falling through Monday morning before finally tapering off around midday further south. Ice is the main threat. Through the afternoon and evening, if you're in Maryland, Virginia, or the Carolinas, you need to watch out for significant freezing rain. Pink shading on maps shows sleet, purple shows freezing rain, and that freezing rain is going to cause headaches for Richmond, Roanoke, Virginia Beach, the D.C. area, Charlotte, Raleigh, and even down to Columbia, South Carolina. This ice threat hangs around through late afternoon and evening before gradually clearing out by daybreak Monday. Let me give you some specific snowfall numbers for major cities. because these are pretty impressive. Pittsburgh is looking at another 7 inches or so. Akron and Cleveland are facing 7 to 10 more inches, substantial amounts on top of what's already fallen. Moving into New York State, Albany is looking at 2 feet total from this event. Boston is in the same boat with 2 feet expected. These could be historic totals for those cities. Hartford, Connecticut, and Providence, Rhode Island, are both tracking 12 to 18 inches. New York City is expecting a foot to a foot and a half, somewhere in that 12 to 18 inch range too. Down east, Maine from Portland to Augusta is facing 12 to 18 inches. But there's an interesting cutoff as you head further north. Caribou in far northern Maine only sees about 2 to 4 inches. The heaviest snow is concentrated in southern and central New England. There's also a sharp drop-off heading south. Baltimore and Washington, D.C. totals plummet from a foot down to just 2 to 4 inches over a very short distance. That's because sleet and freezing rain take over, eating into the snow totals. Speaking of ice, let's break down those accumulations because this is where things get really dangerous. The D.C. area is looking at around a 1/4 inch of ice. Richmond and Roanoke are facing a 1/4 to 1/2 inch. Charlotte and Raleigh could see anywhere from a glaze up to 1/2 inch, especially across central North Carolina. Even the Outer Banks could see some ice accumulation. Moving into South Carolina, the Greenville area and north of Columbia are looking at around a 1/4 inch. This ice threat extends just east of the Atlanta metro and sticks around through Tuesday morning. Any ice accumulation in these areas is a big deal because it brings down trees and power lines and creates extremely hazardous driving conditions. Now, I need to talk about the warm side of this storm because yes, we're dealing with severe weather too. A line of thunderstorms is marching across the southeast right now, particularly hammering eastern Alabama with thunder, lightning, potentially small hail, and gusty winds from stronger cells. This line is going to push into middle and southern Georgia through the afternoon and eventually reach northern Florida overnight. Panama City, Gainesville, and Jacksonville could hear some thunder as this system moves through. Though it should be weakening by then as the atmosphere settles down, rainfall from this line will range from 1/2 inch to 1.5 inches across Alabama, Georgia, northern Florida, and southern South Carolina. This could cause water to pool on roads and flooding in low-lying areas like streams, creeks, and ditches. Just another hazard to keep on your radar as we push into early next week. Let's talk about what comes after this storm. Because, spoiler alert, the cold isn't going anywhere. The tropospheric polar vortex is spinning through southeastern Canada and into the northeast. And it's basically parking in our backyard for the rest of January. What that means for everyone east of the Rockies, especially east of the Mississippi River, is sustained Arctic air. The Ohio Valley in particular is going to be running 30 to 40 below normal for the last 5 days of January leading up to Saturday, the 31st. Yikes. The wind chill forecast for the upcoming week is absolutely brutal. Monday morning, we're looking at wind chills of 20 to 40 below zero again across the upper Midwest. School cancellations and delays are going to be likely across the eastern Dakotas, Minnesota, Wisconsin, and potentially Iowa and Illinois. Through Monday, sub-zero wind chills stretch across the Ohio Valley. Tuesday morning, still extremely cold in Minnesota and Wisconsin. Wednesday morning, same story. Thursday, Friday, Saturday morning, the pattern just keeps reinforcing itself. We're going to be dealing with sub-zero wind chills during morning hours for every remaining day of January. This is a prolonged Arctic outbreak that demands serious respect. Bundle up if you're heading outdoors. Frostbite can happen in less than 30 minutes with these wind chills. And once you're down to 30 or 40 below, that time drops to less than 15 minutes. Cover all exposed skin. This isn't the time to be tough about it. The million-dollar question is whether this energy can link up with the cold air and develop a surface low-pressure system. Right now, the AI ensemble data shows the midweek system staying well offshore, too far out to cause any significant coastal impacts. But as we push into February, there are hints of energy just offshore the southeast coast that could track closer to land. The ensemble mean has actually been pretty consistent in showing potentially heavy snow across the mid-Atlantic and northeast coast, including the I-95 corridor. We're talking Boston, New York City, Philadelphia, Baltimore, D.C., and even suggestions of snow reaching into the Carolinas. Now, nothing's guaranteed at this range, but the trends are leaning toward a potentially colder outcome. If that system shifts west and tracks close enough to the coast, we could see accumulating snow from another significant storm. Fingers crossed for snow lovers, I suppose. Looking at the broader February outlook, here's how I see things unfolding. The first week of February, especially late in that week, between the 6th and 8th. After any potential storm passes through, we're going to see the cold air breaking down across the east. A ridge building out west will flex its muscles and push milder temperatures into the plains and upper Midwest. After what we've been through, it's going to feel practically tropical by comparison, but don't get too comfortable.